All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High. We're going to get right into this story. Today, I'm Richard Taylor, and I'm coming with somewhat breaking news of another black man found in a southern town under extremely suspicious circumstances. 39-year-old Denoris Richardson of Sheffield, Alabama, was found some ways from his home in an abandoned house. He was from a carport in an abandoned house in the rural part of the county of Coburg, almost to the border of Mississippi. Now, the small town sheriff, this town has about a population of 9,000 people, which is about 77% white and 23% black, which is about 4 whites to every black person in that small town. Now, the sheriff of that town, Mr. Eric Ballantyne, said his office has already completed an investigation and it has been ruled self-inflicted. Now, you know that we've been covering the Javion McGee case in the small town of Henderson. Their small town sheriff department has also conducted their investigation, and it has been ruled preliminary as self-inflicted. So this case has some similarities to the case that we've been following for the past almost a month. But what I want you to know is this happened on September the 28th, and this is just now reaching the national platform. Someone sent this to me yesterday, and since from September the 28th until now, not even 2 weeks, they have already concluded their investigation and ruled it self-inflicted. Now, Richardson's wife, Leanne Richardson, said that she is absolutely convinced that it is not what they're saying it is. Now, Richardson, he was a father of 5. He coached Little League football and basketball in the community for about 14 years. He also was a dog breeder and very active in the community, very active with his family. But what probably led to his demise was he filed a federal lawsuit against 5 officers in that county, alleging that they, beat him when he was in jail. They continuously harassed him. And, he was a victim of police brutality. Now, that federal lawsuit was handled by his civil rights attorney, Roderick Van Daniel. Now, once again, he was found suspended by a rope a long ways from his house. Now, I'm going to give you or read you some of this article, and we're going to see how they're trying to paint the mental health narrative, just as they have done in our brother's Javion McGee case. Now, once again, he lived in Sheffield. He was married. Now, as this article say, and I'm going to let you read this article. U.S. Attorney Prim Escalona said that she was not familiar with the case and says that we cannot deny or confirm the existence of any investigation, said FBI Public Affairs Specialist Tony Herrera Bass, meaning they don't even know nothing about the case. That is why we must stay vigilant in our brother Javion McGee's case to continue to make it aware and call out to the FBI. These people in this small town of 9,000 people literally kept this on the wraps for about 2 weeks. And now they have already conducted their investigation and ruled it self-inflicted. Now, the sheriff says that they received a call of a suspicious vehicle at a residence on Highway 72 on the west side of Coburg County. When our deputies go down to investigate the suspicious vehicle, they located Mr. Richardson. He was from a beam on the carport. Now, his wife, once again, said that she is not convinced that it was self-inflicted. She definitely wants answers. His wife also stated that Richardson had been repeatedly beaten, arrested, and harassed by Sheffield police officers his whole life. Once they said that he was recently arrested on substance charges, and they said that they would drop the charges against him if he would drop the federal lawsuit. Now, the lawsuit stemmed once again from a separate incident where he alleged that the 4 officers beat and tased him while he was in custody. Now, one of the officers named in the lawsuit, that officer is Max Dotson. And there you see on the screen, Max Dawson, and you can actually see the hate in his face. Max Dawson was fired in a separate incident on December 22 for assault against another black man. Now, Mayor Steve Stanley, he gives his cookie cutter statement regarding the abuse of Mr. Richardson before his demise. Any abuse of inmates is contrary to our policy. I have preached repeatedly that everyone we encounter, whether they've committed a crime or not, deserves respect and humane treatment. I'm hoping that the philosophy is standard, is embraced by all of our employees. Now, the Chief Terry, the police chief, he did not respond to this article. Now, that says a lot about him. And also, attorneys for Max Dotson didn't comment. But here again, Stanley says, I'm always concerned that the potential exists for those things to occur. Stanley said of the police violence against people in jail, it's unacceptable and it's contrary to principles and policies that the city has. Now, the mayor, once again, he says that he knew Richardson personally. He says that I'm sorry to hear of his death. I've had a couple of meetings with Denores in the past, and they've always been civil and congenial. I certainly didn't harbor any ill will against him. Now, what the mayor is saying is that Mr. Richardson was probably going up to his office complaining about the treatment, the harassment, and everything that he has been receiving. And you can tell that he was a man who stood up for himself, because you see this picture right here. You see him holding the book, Fight for Your Rights. So evidently he was a black man in a predominantly Caucasian town, and evidently a racist town, who was one who was going to stand up for himself. Now, this said that he filed a federal lawsuit. This says that the defendants in the lawsuit on September the 30th, 2 days after he passed, they filed a stay of discovery in the case, which was granted. Now, that stay of discovery, I don't know what that means, but it's almost, from my layman's attempts or to interpret it, is their request of, look, go ahead and throw this out because he's passed. Now, the article also goes on to quote his wife, Miss Richardson, who has been married to him for 12 years, said that they had harassed him since he was a 5-year-old child. They had harassed him his whole life. Now, his wife is named Leanne. Now, I don't know if she was a Caucasian woman. Now, of course, some of those whites who have that attitude do not like black men dating their women. Now, also, she said that they tried to charge him with animal cruelty because he bred dogs. But as she said, he bred and sold puppies. They tried to label him as a dog fighter. He was not a dog fighter. He was a dog breeder. He took pride in his animals. He took them to the vet. He fed them every day. He made sure that they were on the correct chain. He went by the book. Now, the lawsuit that he filed said that Dotson and other officers beat him, strapped him in a restraint chair for hours while telling him nobody can help you. They also tased him and sprayed him with mace in his cell. Now, they also charged him on that occasion with second-degree assault against Dotson. Now, I've been in jail, I've been in police custody, and I've been assaulted by the police. Every time that I was assaulted by the police, they always said I assaulted them. So I am a witness of this underhanded tactic by police when they have you in custody. It also said that on January 9th, Richardson was in jail, and when he tried to call for 911, officers physically took the phone and threw him down in the cell. Once again, he was charged with making a false report. Also, his wife said that he had been arrested and jailed on drug charges and said that the officers offered to let him go if he dropped the federal lawsuit. Now, once again, I've had complaints in my city, and I met with the one time he was the interim chief, Greenfield, and he called me in there. He was like, well, you have these charges. Now, if you drop the complaint, we drop the charges. Now, then it wasn't a federal lawsuit. Since I didn't have anything to lose, I agreed. But I'm just saying that I have experienced this same thing. Now, here is the narrative that has been created by this small town police force in an attempt to make Richardson's demise look like he was just down and out, depressed, and he wanted to do that to himself. Now, the sheriff Ballantyne said that he was incarcerated on a drug charge. He was allowed to get out of jail, supposedly to travel out of state to be with a relative. Right after the release, he told his probation officer that he was not going to comply with the restrictions of the release, so a warrant was issued for his arrest. Now, once again, this is the sheriff telling the public what a dead man said to his probation officer. There is no way to prove this narrative, right? There's no way to prove that he really said this. But of course, it makes it look like, oh yeah, when we do this to him, he was just worried about a drug charge. Now, Miss Richardson explains that he said he put his uncle in Washington State down as a guardian for probation purposes, but was told he had to be working and be close to his guardian. He would have to move to Washington away from his children, Mrs. Richardson said. So he told her that he decided to turn himself in and serve his time. Now, what that means is, instead of moving to Washington and having to be away from his children, look, I'm going to go ahead and turn myself in and serve this time. Now, she said that the last time she heard from him is Wednesday, September the 25th. And on September the 26th, she reported him missing. Now, could it be on September the 25th, he went to turn himself in, and then because he had the lawsuit with this small town police and sheriff department, they took him way on the outskirts of town to this abandoned building where they know no one would find him, and then did what they did, and then, quote unquote, got the suspicious call about a suspicious vehicle. Once again, I don't put it past them, because you're going to see how they are lying on his demeanor in this article. His mother refutes everything that the sheriff said. She said Sheffield police in the missing person report referred to Richardson as a white male, although they knew he was a black male. Once again, that is a little ploy. That is their little thumb in the face, if you ask me. Now, here is Detective Sheriff Sheffield again saying, or the sheriff of Sheffield saying, we spoke to family members that said the last time they had spoken to Mr. Richardson, he had been depressed, worried about his future as far as the charges he was looking at. He was just down and out. He was giving his property away. It appeared to be an apparent self-infliction demise. Now, it says here that the DA's office ordered an autopsy. The body was sent to Department of Forensic Science in Huntsville, and the cause of death was listed as what? Self-inflicted. Now, we all know that these sheriff departments, the DA's office, and the medical examiners all work in conjunction together to create certain narratives. Now, Miss Richardson once again disputes that. He said that Richardson gave some of his jewelry to his son to keep, not because he expected to die, but because he expected to return to prison and finish serving his time, which is only natural. Like when some of my guys, or when I had to go lay down for a minute, you give people your money, your cars, or whatever you have to make sure it's maintained while you serve your time. So Miss Richardson ends it by saying that he was not depressed. And also, he had previously served 18 months in prison on a drug charge more than a decade ago. And he was not afraid to return into prison. Now, once again, I've been to prison one time 23 years ago, and I'm not afraid of going again, but I don't want to go. But if I was facing some time, I'm going to handle it. I'm not going to drive way out, as his mother said, and do something of this nature. Now, his mother, in this part of the article, refutes it. Sheriff Ballantyne once again said the investigation pointed to Richardson being depressed about his legal situation. He said, now this is what Sheriff Ballantyne said to this article. We've spoken with the mother at length. She seemed to think that Mr. Richardson was depressed because his estranged wife had been giving him some problems. They had been separated. There were a lot of things going on in Mr. Richardson's life. Now, once again, Miss Richardson's wife disputes that. She said that her and her husband were estranged, but they remained on good terms, and he often spent time with his children. Richardson's mother, Miss Bonita Richardson, God bless her heart, denies that she told the sheriff investigators that her son was depressed. And she quotes, "That ain't what I said." Miss Bonita Richardson, I can hear her saying that right now. That ain't what I said. My son was joyful. He didn't have any mental issues. He would never have unalived himself. He would not hurt himself. Now that's from the mouth of a mother. So once again, she's disputing this. They're not used to people standing up and going against their lies. This Ballantyne guy, he's going to create this whole narrative that, yeah, I spoke to the mother. Even she said he was depressed. This is the most diabolical thing that they could do in this article. She also stated she said he did fear for his life because of his lawsuit against Sheffield police officers. He would not have drove himself way out there almost to Mississippi, she said. Now, I also talked to another lady, and she said, yes, she's from Alabama, and she called regarding this situation. She said, we was told, we always know there are certain parts of Alabama, as a black person, you just don't go. And this is in 2024. And so, his wife said that he was found between Barton and Cherokee, Alabama. And that's less than 15 miles from Mississippi line, in an area that Richardson had no affiliation with. And she said as much as this lady said that I talked to, he was scared of places like that. Meaning, you don't go out there in the outskirts in these small rural towns, because people know that there are people with these attitudes, sort of like Lieutenant Matt Dotson, who may unalive you, right? And here go Ballantyne. Ballantyne said he knew of no connections between Richardson and the abandoned house where he was found dead. That was one of our questions. Why here, he said. But no one, not even the family. And they came to the scene. We spoke to a lot of people there, and we can't find any connection to the property. That's right. You won't find any connection because he didn't take himself there. You probably did. Like, this is classic. What is that? Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo monster in the mask trick. Who's the monster? It's the sheriff. He got on the monster's mask. The monster is hiding under the sheriff's badge and the sheriff mask. Once again, now he denies he knows about a federal lawsuit. Valentine said he was not previously aware of the federal lawsuit against members of the sheriff department. He said, we weren't aware of any of that. It's not our department, so we wouldn't be aware. But the family brought it to his attention, he said. And then he said, I know the family expressed some concern about it. And here's his excuse. Our agency is not involved in that. I think that may be one of the municipalities in the county. I didn't even know there was a lawsuit until the family showed there may be concerns about that. After the fact, the family expressed those concerns to us, and that's why we did a detailed investigation to make sure we were transparent, and that's how we handle all cases. Now, he said the investigation was thorough. How thorough can you be in about 2 weeks? Then he once again disavows any relation to the lawsuit. He says, we have no interest in the lawsuit. We just received a phone call of someone for a suspicious vehicle at an abandoned home, and upon our arrival and conducting our investigation, located Mr. Richardson. Now, who makes the call? Who made that call? Right? In an abandoned building in a carport. Who saw that? Nobody. The police saw that. But and then you see this title right here. Miss Richardson said she paid for a private autopsy, but it could take months to get the results. And then Valentine again says, I know the family requested a secondary autopsy. Whether or not that was done, you have to confirm that with the family. Also, Valentine says he welcomed a federal investigation if any federal agency deems it warrant. That means, he's already kind of talked to his buddies at the federales and told them this is what it is. This is what happened. And you're going to see it, right? As far as our investigation goes, we want to be transparent. We've even placed a call to the U.S. Attorney's General Office to see if they could maybe take a look at it also. It's just a request. Because there is some concern as far as the family goes, we don't mind them coming in and taking a look at the case. Valentine, who has worked in law enforcement 30 years, says unalivements are emotional for relatives of the person who died. Yeah, unalivements are, but not unalivements by the police. And he says, anytime there's a death, it's tragic, and it's hard for a family member or a family in general to process how someone they've known and they cared about, how could they do something like this? There's obvious indication that Mr. Richardson had been depressed. There you go, lying again. He had talked to friends and family about that. He was giving some of his property away. Once again, he's continuing with the narrative, almost like Sheriff Brain is continuing with that narrative here in Javion's case. These guys are mechanical. They're methodical with it. They stick to it, and they try to impress it until some people start to believe it. And here it goes. All indications in our investigation lead right back to self-unalivement. But with that being said, whenever the family expresses those concerns, we want to be transparent. But I'm confident that what our investigation has found is going to be accurate. How do you know? He's confident that what we found is going to be accurate. Why? Because we made it look like that. We've covered all of our bases. There's no record of him in our presence. And here we go again with that narrative. When you look at the level of what this gentleman had concerns about, even the probation officer said he plainly told her, I'm not coming back and I'm not going to adhere to the terms of my release. So who knows what a person thinks about when they're under much pressure. Man, the man done did a year and a half, man. If you can do a year and a half, you can do 2. You can do 3. It didn't say he got caught with a brick or something and was facing 20 years. You know what I mean? Probably a little minor joint. So please, if he was willing to go turn himself in and do his time, he ain't that pressed. Once again, Richardson's mother said he had concerns, but he wasn't worried about going to prison. He was really in fearful his life, she said. I think it is an unalivement. Now, once again, efforts to reach the Colbert County coroner were unsuccessful. Why? Because he's in with the plan too. Colbert County, small county in Alabama. This is what goes down. Once again, here's the sheriff continuing his narrative. As far as the sheriff is concerned, the outcome of the case is clear. We did a full investigation, and I'm confident on our end. We want to be transparent. Everything we've done in our investigation leads to self-unalivement. You see how he keeps reiterating that. He keeps reiterating it and reiterating it and reiterating it, planting that seed, right? But who's going to stand up for righteousness and justice? Here you have a 39-year-old man, father, dog breeder, community man, with a federal lawsuit against officers. One of the officers have been fired for assaulting a black man. He's facing a minor charge, going through some problems with his wife, but they getting it together. He still get to see his children, right? He don't want to go away to Washington State, to serve the terms of his probation. So he's going to just go ahead and turn himself in. But give my son my jury to make sure he hold it so he can be fly at school or whatever he's doing. Then I'm going to go do my time. He speaks to his estranged wife on the 25th, then goes missing on the 26th. And then 2 days later, he's found suspended in the air in a part of town where he is afraid to go. Y'all tell me if this makes sense to y'all. Another one. Same as Javion McGee. They're trying to paint the narrative once again that he was going through mental health issues. And they want us to believe that he unalived himself in that manner. And y'all mean to tell me, just look at this man. Look at this man right here. You see the book he's holding up. Fight for your rights. Fight for your rights. He's fighting for his rights, but then again, he's just going to give up his entire life. This doesn't make sense. But the reason I'm sharing this because this is not an isolated incident. Either with him, with Javion, there's a couple of more I'm going to share within the coming days because, mind you, this happened on September the 28th. I am just hearing about this. This article that was written by AL.com, and this is fair use, by the way. AL, this is Alabama.com. This was just uploaded yesterday, October the 8th, or 2 days ago if you're watching it today, 11:39 a.m. So this happened 10 days ago, 11 days ago. They've already conducted their full investigation and rooted how they're going to do it. Make this make sense. So I want y'all to think about this as well as Javion's case. This is not an isolated incident. There's also a case in Hattiesburg that I'll probably talk about tomorrow. But I had to do this there. Make sure you share this video because, once again, people don't know about this. This man had a lawsuit against police, one of which has already been fired for assaulting a black man. So he had a civil rights attorney representing him. Now, he had a civil rights attorney. These small town Alabama places, they weren't ready for that. They knew they was going to lose, but they were not going to let this vigilant, this man who's been standing up for himself since he was 5 years old. Now, once again, his wife said they have been harassing him since he was 5 years old. And something about the strong, the vigilant, the take no prisoners black man in those small towns, that it is hated. So evidently he was one of those people. I don't believe it is the narrative they're putting it out. I don't think anybody out there believes that. So we're going to also keep this family in our prayers and in our thoughts. And if anybody knows the family, or if anybody want to send this video to the family, have them reach out, because, this is what we do. Ephesians 5:11, take no thought, take no part in the works of darkness, rather expose them, because it is a shame to speak of it is a shame to even speak of the things that they do in secret. These things are done in secret, but then they're brought to the light with a different narrative. And, I, for one, do not believe it is so. I'm about ready to take a trip down there to Alabama, to Colbert County, because these things are unlawful. They're unruly. They're evil. And as one great philosopher said, evil only triumphs when good people do nothing. And so I'm imploring you, good people out there, to do something, righteous people to do something, to stop this seemingly trend. Once again, this happened September the 28th, 2.5 weeks after our brother Javion, and about 3 weeks after our brother down in Hattiesburg, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow. But definitely, once again, 919-587-7782. I just thought I had to bring this to light because it was heavy on my heart, that another young black man is dying under these suspicious 1912 circumstances, and they keep saying that they did it to ourselves. When black men do unalive themselves, it will not be by that. History shows that. Statistics shows that. So you can't piss on my back and tell me it's rain, like my man said in Knock Around Guys. I don't know if you ever seen that movie, but yeah, man, it's time out for believing these narratives and just running with them. We definitely have to once again call the proper people, and that is the people who are able to expose these things and discipline these things. But nevertheless, prayers go out to the Richardson family. Continue prayers to the McGee family. And once again, we pray that justice rolls down like mighty waters and righteousness like a never-ending stream. Peace and blessings. That's Amos 5 and 8. Peace and blessings. Thank y'all for watching.
From local stories to Wayne County news, get ready to dive into everything happening in North Carolina with Taylor House Publishing. Got a story to share? Shoot us an email at taylorpublishinghouse@gmail.com. If you're looking to publish your book or need some top-notch mentorship, we've got your back. Join the excitement with the one and only Richard Taylor, right here at Taylor House Publishing. Speak with Richard directly at 919-587-7782. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and invite your family and friends to watch.
From Wayne County to the Carolina coast, Taylor House brings the news you love most. Tune in on YouTube, don't miss a beat. Local stories that keep you on your feet.
Taylor House, we got the scoop.
Taylor House Publishing.